So this is an interesting message. I got this message on Facebook from somebody who just randomly, I don't know, maybe he saw a comment. I think he saw a comment I made about something totally unrelated to my live stream. Then he went to my channel, I guess, on my show, and he says, I'm not going to say the guy's name. He knows who he is if he's watching. He says, I watched about 20, 30 minutes of your recent show on your page. You watch 20 to 30 minutes, probably 20, of one show, and you think you know enough to comment. Okay. Based on your stance, he put stance in quotation marks. Okay. In life, you shouldn't necessarily need any form of social gratification. I don't know what that means. What are you talking about? Like kudos from people? I mean, I don't know what you're referring to, really. It's a little too vague. Social gratification. There's numerous forms of gratification. You get social gratification. What do you mean? I'm assuming he means like kudos from people. Like, yeah, way to go! Well, I don't know about shouldn't. I mean, it's nice to get, of course. It's nice to be appreciated by your audience. It's nice to hear kind words from people who appreciate what you're doing. I don't need it. I mean, it's nice, but no, I don't really need the validation. I guess what he's talking about is validation from others. Yeah, poorly worded, pal. But I'll give it to you anyway. Whatever. Your show is relatively valid. Relatively. Oh, boy. When people start using that word relatively, I start to think I'm in the presence of a socialist leftist. All right, let's continue. But, okay, see, this is kind of where I ascribe to the same kind of viewpoint as Tyrion Lannister on Game of Thrones. And by the way, Tyrion Lannister didn't make this up, and neither did George R. R. Martin. This is an old saying that anything comes after but. Anything that came before the but doesn't mean anything. But, for the most part, you're using a sledgehammer to squash an ant. Do you mind explaining that? A little analogy there. You mind telling me what exactly is the hammer and what's the ant? Or maybe it's to... I guess I can derive what he means about sledgehammer. I'm not sure what he's talking about the ant. Not too clear, pal. Maybe it's to provoke or trigger responses. No, you think? I want to trigger a response, all right, pal. I want to wake people up. You don't wake people up too well being real quiet, right? Walking around in your dirty, ratty fucking bunny slippers that are oh so quiet and you don't make a noise. That's not a good way to wake people up. Apparently you weren't aware of that. It can work. It can, but not too often. You got to have some really good ears. Anyway, yeah. But that's not necessary at all. No explanation for why it's not necessary, by the way. He's just giving an opinion without explaining, no argument. It's not necessary for you to provoke people. Really? Then why is there such a thing as provocateurs? Why do they exist if there wasn't a need for them, huh? Why would they be so popular, huh? Yeah, why would the word provoke itself? Why would the idea of provoking people even exist if it didn't serve some kind of purpose? Oh, it doesn't serve any purpose at all. That's possible. I suppose it's possible that the idea of provocation, provoking, is 100% utterly, completely, totally useless. And it serves no purpose whatsoever to provoke people. Sure, I suppose that's possible. Could be. Lots of things exist that seemingly serve no purpose. But would you mind explaining why it's not necessary? No explanation. He goes on to say, you can win without stooping to their level. Really? Really? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, of course, it depends on what's happening, what the war is, what the weapons are that are being utilized. But if you're going to tell me that my enemy is going to get down and dirty and essentially break all the rules to win, and essentially I'm going to play by what rules now? Because rules are essentially something that both sides agree upon. But if one side has agreed, there's no rules, I'm going to fucking wipe the floor with you, I'm going to wipe you out, I'm going to kill your kids, I'm going to kill your mother, your father, I'm going to wipe out your entire race, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to argue logic and reason and do nothing else. Yeah, that doesn't work, buddy. That doesn't work. You're living in fantasy land. I have every assurance you can do so without the dramatics. I like the dramatics. People like the dramatics, huh? What's wrong with the dramatics? By the way, you're wrong and you have no argument. You're just saying what you believe to be true without explaining the why. You see, this is the problem. You're making claims without presenting an argument, so I really don't have to take you seriously at all. I don't think you would know how to make an argument, though. I don't think you even have a clue. I bet you think you're well-educated and smart, but you're not. Leftist! If I was to critique your show, I'd say calm down with the paranoia about whites. White depopulation. He says whitey's depopulation. He doesn't really know anything about statistics. He's done no actual research. He doesn't know that the white population has actually been decreasing, not increasing since 1970. And if it wasn't for foreigners coming into the country, we would actually have a smaller population than we did in 1970. He doesn't seem to understand that. But he doesn't seem to see a problem with that either, nor does he question why it's happening. No! Sounds too hyperbolic to me, so it can't be valid. Wrong! I mean, seriously, humans were meant to breed. You would think. You would think. But if they spend their whole lives being indoctrinated and told that essentially having kids is evil and that it's going to destroy the world, yeah, they don't breed. And if the population of whites is decreasing, it most certainly couldn't be through lack of trying, or is it? Depends on who's trying to stop them from breeding, pinhead. But that's another argument for another time, and there's no arguments presented by you. So, yeah. Peace and enlightenment to all. Yeah, we got a leftist here who thinks he's a brilliant genius. Yeah. This guy probably labels himself a liberal. He sounds like he believes he's some kind of liberal, but he doesn't realize he leans far to the left. Yeah. And it's not easy to, not hard to spot. When they start using the word relatively, yeah, you're dealing with the liberal. To him, everything's relative, right? Everything's relative. All right, I just wanted to address that and what I talked about on my last show. I was trying to explain how essentially you're not going to win by being nice. That was my main message that I didn't really get to because I was exhausted doing this fucking show, working 16-hour days. Oh, my God. I would prefer not to, and I'm thinking about quitting it, to be honest. But, anyway, never been much of a quitter. Anyway, yeah, you're not going to win by being nice, Conservatives are nice, aren't they? Yeah, they're real nice. What have they accomplished? Zero. They haven't conserved anything. We've lost more of American traditional culture in the past 50 years than the prior 500 that was spent building it up and developing wonderful things like, the Magna Carta and, other wonderful things in the Enlightenment and, a better understanding and a rediscovery of Greek philosophy. Yeah, I mean, all the years, the decades, the centuries that essentially Western culture developed and became more well understood and better codified and evolved. Now we're losing all that. We're not continuing to evolve culturally, traditionally. We're degenerating. Oh, but that's okay. Why? Well, why? Give me an argument why. Oh, you hadn't even really thought about it. Okay, that's enough.